Okay, we'll get started with the 2021 papers. So you have 21 and 2022. Both are very interesting and nice papers. There were a few new questions that they have tried their level best not to repeat the past papers. Yeah, so they've come up with a little bit of new questions, but they're testing the same thing, but in a little bit of different ways. Okay, so we'll start with the 21 A-level paper. That's question number 1. Outline 2 economic characteristics of land as a factor of production. They're saying outline. So when they say outline, it's a little bit more than state. So what can we write, guys? Can you give me a few characteristics? Things like what? Okay, yes, you can say it's a gift of nature, correct? Okay, so how can you outline that? You can say, you can say land is a gift, is a natural resource and is a gift by nature, which is not produced by human intervention, not produced through human intervention. That is more than enough. Then factor mobility, no, it's immobile, right? So you can say it's immobile. How can you explain immobile? You can say land is geographically immobile. It cannot be moved from one place to another. Then you can also say the payment for land being rent does not depreciate. Okay, not a main feature, but fine. Okay, something like that. Can you all handle that? Okay, so you can say immobile. You can say the payment for land being rent. You can say it's a gift of nature. Okay, possibility to improve productivity, correct? So you can't just state the point. Yes, non-uniformity, correct? So as long as you can write 1 or 2 lines on it, it's perfectly fine. So what is non-uniformity? It's that the land in one area is not the same as the land in another. Now, a river in one area is not the same as a river in another place. It might differ. So all of that is what you call non-uniformity. So you write the point, you write about 1 or 2 lines about it. That's more than enough. So only 2 characteristics that you have to outline. You don't have to write all. I'm giving you 4. You select 2, write a line or 2 about that. Done. Then we'll go into the next paper. This was an interesting one. Easy, but interesting. Look at this. A 500-acre land in the outskirts of a city is okay, we'll have it over here. I'll put it on the top here itself, right? There is a 500-acre land in the outskirts of a city. So a little bit outside the city, there's a 500-acre land. It's considered by the Environment Authority to be preserved in its natural state. So the Environment Authority is saying we'll keep it as its natural state itself. And as this area is home for many endangered species, the Urban Development Authority has planned to build a housing complex on the land. So the Environmental Authority is saying, no, let's keep this as it is. So because a lot of endangered species are living in it, maybe animals, birds. Urban Development Authority is saying, we are trying to build a housing complex in this land. So identify and explain the elements of scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost which are involved in this case. Very easy, guys. So how can you start with scarcity? You can say, now you don't have to go in and talk too much about definitions also, right? But you can start, right? You can say scarcity is the limitedness of resources compared to the unlimited ones. Then you can say, according to this, let's say, statement, or according to this case study, there is only one 500-acre land which can be used for many alternative uses, or which the Environment Authority wants to preserve it. The Urban Development Authority wants to build a housing complex. So there are so many bonds, but there is only one 500-acre land. So therefore, this 500-acre land is a scarce plot of land which depicts scarcity. That's how you can write about scarcity. So once again, how can you talk about scarcity? You can say, look here, there is one plot of land, but there are so many bonds. The Housing Development Authority wants to build a house there. No, Urban Development Authority wants to build a housing complex. The Environment Authority wants to preserve it. So many bonds are there, but one plot of land. So therefore, this plot of land is scarce. There is scarcity. Is that okay? How do you show scarcity? Fine. How can you explain something? Okay. Then how can you explain choice? So now you can say, given that there is one 500-acre plot of land, it's not possible to do all that the people want. So these people want to do this, these people want to do this, but you can't do all of that. So therefore, you have to make a choice between the two alternative uses. You can either preserve it in its natural state, or you can build a housing complex. So you have to make a choice. That's all that you write for choice. Then what can you write for opportunity cost? Then you can say, in the event, if this land was used as a housing complex, right, to build a housing complex, then the opportunity cost could be, right, the loss of home, the loss of the home for many endangered species. The other side, maybe if this land was used as a home for endangered species, that means preserved in its natural state, the opportunity cost would be the benefit that the economy could have got by building this housing complex. Now, that is exactly what is kind of explained in the marking scheme as well. Let me try to find the marking scheme. Give me a second. Is that part clear, guys? Can you all practically think and write an answer for a question like that? Yes. Now, these kind of questions, you'll definitely not have it directly in your tute guys. Nowhere in your tute, there'll be something like that. So look at this. Okay. This is the answer that is in the marking scheme, right? I'll just show you how simple this answer is. The question might look scary, but see how simple the answer is. 2 marks about scarcity, 2 marks about choice, 2 marks about opportunity cost. See, the 500-acre plot of land in an urban area has a demand for alternative uses. The Environment Authority wants to preserve it in the natural state. The Urban Development Authority wants to use it for construction. Therefore, this plot of land is scarce. Is that okay? One plot of land, so many different bonds are there. So this plot of land is scarce. That means it depicts scarcity. That's the first 2 marks. Then, second, they said talk about choice. Then they say, because of scarcity, you have to make a choice between the alternative uses. It's not possible to use the land for both the activities. So therefore, you have to make the choice between either you preserve it in the natural state or you use it for the houses. That's choice. 2 marks. Second paragraph. Look at the third paragraph that talks about opportunity cost. See, choice involves the sacrifice. It is the opportunity cost of the chosen activity. The opportunity cost of preserving the land in the natural state is the foregone value of the land as a housing development project. The opportunity cost of using the land as a housing development project is the foregone value of preserving the land in its natural state for this. So they show the opportunity cost of both the sides. If you do this, this is the opportunity cost. If you do this, this is the opportunity cost. So it's a very normal, simple thing that you have to write, guys. So don't get scared when you see questions like this. It's from the question itself you can formulate your answer. Is that okay? Manageable? Fine. Okay, done. Then we'll go to the next one. Why is the production possibility curve negatively sloped and bowed outward? Now, bowed outward part, you all know. That is because it is depicting increasing opportunity cost. But why is the PPC negatively sloped, guys? Why? Now, why can't the PPC be like this? Why can't you have a PPC like done? Now, why can't the PPC be like this? Why can't it be upward slope? Why can't it be, I don't know, something like this, maybe a flat line like this? Why is it downward sloping like this? So, like this, so why is it downward sloping? Why is that? Why can't it just be upward sloping or a straight flat line or something like that? Why is it downward sloping or negatively sloped? It's negatively sloped, guys, because of scarcity. It's negatively sloped because of scarcity. So why? So because of scarcity only, if you want to increase the production of one good, you have to give up the production of another. Now, if there is no scarcity, maybe you can increase the production of this good also. You can increase the production of this good also. Both the goods, you can increase the production. But because it is negatively sloped, what is it showing? It's showing that if you want to increase the production of one good, you have to sacrifice the production of another. So why do you have to sacrifice the production of another to increase one? Because your resources are limited. If you have unlimited resources, then you can increase this also, you can increase that also. But it's negatively sloped means, so what should you write, guys? So you can say the PPC is negatively sloped due to the scarcity of resources. So meaning in order to increase the production of one good, right? The production of the other good needs to be foregone. Is that clear? That is why the PPC is negatively sloped. Any questions on that? The first part of the question. Why is it negatively sloped? Then the second part of the question, why is the PPC bowed out? Bowed out means concave to the origin. Now that you all know to explain. Okay, so why is it bowed out? Because of increasing opportunity cost. So because of increasing opportunity cost. So you can write about what is increasing opportunity cost and you can write the reasons for it. So increasing opportunity cost is where when you increase the production of one good by equal quantities, you have to, the amount of the other good that you sacrifice keeps on increasing. It goes up and up and up. So what are the reasons? The use of non-homogeneous resources, that you can write. Is that okay? Can you handle a question like that? Fine. Okay. Right. Then the next one. The last sub question. Define a mixed economy. State 4 examples of economic activities which support the view that Sri Lanka is a mixed economy. Okay, so what is a mixed economy, guys? How do you define a mixed economy? Remember, mixed economy is not where you have the private sector and the government both. That's not the definition, right? A mixed economy is an economic system that uses both price mechanism and planning mechanism. Always remember, guys, mixed economy is a combination of the mechanism. Okay, that's how you define it. So you can say a mixed economy is an economic system that answers the basic economic problems using both price and planning mechanism. That's your definition. And then you can say, yes, the private sector owns resources and they would use price mechanism. The public sector owns the other resources. They would use planning mechanism. That you can do. But the definition has to be this. Then can you give me some examples, guys, of activities to prove that Sri Lanka is a what? Mixed economy? What can you give? What can you say? Give me some examples to show that Sri Lanka is a mixed economy. So you can say both the private sector and public sector produce goods and services. That is one, right? So you can say, for example, you can say transportation. So you have private transportation and you have public transportation. Fine, that is one. What else? What are the other examples that you can give, guys, to show that this is a, look here, it is a mixed economy? You can also say one. You can say both the private sector and the public sector own resources, right? Own resources in the economy. So There are private sector businesses owned by the private sector, and there are public sector businesses that government owned. So you can say that. What else can you say? You can also say, right, the government charging taxes, right? You can say the resources in Sri Lanka are mainly distributed using price mechanism. In other words, that is where the people who can afford it can come and get it. So that is based on purchasing power. Okay. However, you can also say, however, right, the government influences. How? Influences this by charging taxes from the rich, right? And providing subsidies to the poor. So you can say that, right? That's another example to say that, look here, Sri Lanka is a mixed economy, right? So you have these people doing this and this. What else can you give, guys? Privacy for profit. Yes, you can say that. So you can say the private sector is profit oriented, right? So now you can say, for example, private schools. Now, if you take private schools, they charge a very high term fee and they are profit oriented. But if you take government schools, they teach for free. So their motive is social welfare, not to make a profit. So yes. So I'll copy that from the chat box. So you can give this. You can say the private sector focuses on profits and the public sector focuses on social well-being. And what can you give as an example? You can give schools, private schools and government schools. Is that okay, guys? Can you handle something like that? Examples to show that Sri Lanka is a mixed economy, that there is private sector, public sector, price mechanism, planning mechanism, both operating. To give some examples. Fine. Yes. Any questions on that? Okay. Done. Then we'll move to the, okay, so that is the 2021 A-level paper. Done. Right. Second.